I'm the king of taxes. Joining me now with reactions, Heritage Foundation Distinguished Visiting Fellow, Steve Moore. Steve, good morning to you.
Hi, Maria.
Well, what did you think about those speeches last night?
First of all, the good news is that Arnold Schwarzenegger cannot run for president because he's not American, so we don't have to worry about that.
And isn't it interesting that an immigrant is taking Donald Trump's old job?
Yeah, it really is. Look, what is so fascinating about this race is that the two leaders in the two parties are economic populists. You really can't tell that much apart from their messages. I mean, we don't know what Trump's tax plan will be. I've been in contact with some of his campaign people, but you know, I don't anticipate it'll be too different from what Bernie Sanders comes out with. And there is a rage, Maria, on both sides of the aisle that is really driving this race.
Yeah, but the difference, I mean, according to the Journal, is $18 trillion.
That is absurd. Obviously, it's $18 trillion.
Trump's not going to be able to come out saying, I'm going to raise taxes that much to fund a program as ambitious as Bernie Sanders. Could he? Right. I mean, is that possible?
Well, I think that Trump has said so many different things on raising taxes. I mean, in some instances, he said rates are too high. I think he'll actually be pretty good on the corporate side where so much of the damage is done. But on the personal income tax side, he said a week or two ago that, you know, taxes on the rich should be higher. Yeah. So I don't think we know what his tax plan is going to look like on the individual side. I mean, I'm a flat tax guy, so I want the rates to be as low as possible.
Steve, is there anyone that's running on low taxes and lower government spending?
Yeah, well, look, the rest of the Republican field is. I mean, I think Trump is the outlier right now. I mean,
he's the Democrat.
I mean, as Maria knows, I had a big hand in Rand Paul's flat tax plan. I mean, Jeb Bush came out with a pretty good tax plan last week. I think Kasich, I think you're going to get, Ben Carson talks about a 10% tithing tax. So I think on the Republican side of the aisle that Trump is saying something different from almost all of the other Republicans.
But he's saying what the Democrats are saying.
He's saying tax the rich. Yeah. And then, of course, he's saying, you know, hire terrorists. I think he's talking about shutting down immigration. Now, some of the other Republicans are picking up on that theme. That's going to be what I think is going to be so fascinating. If Trump falters, Maria, who picks up this kind of populist
that's good.
streak? I was at a conference this week in Orlando. Freedom Works put on 3,000 to 4,000 activists from all over the country. There was a rage at, you know who they were angry at? The Republican Congress. Why aren't they standing up to Obama? Why did they let this Iran deal?
That's who everybody is mad at, because when the Republicans took over in November, a lot of people were expecting real change.
Exactly.
And they were expecting some stuff to get done.
And this has played right into the hands of Donald Trump.
So does somebody pick up the populist mantle of Trump, or if there's a faltering, does the rest of the Republican Party says, aha, you know, now we go with our program.
You know who's waiting in the wings right now, I think, who's in a very strong position? Keep an eye on Ted Cruz. Cruz has a kind of an alliance right now. Have you noticed this with Trump?
I agree with you.
And if Trump falters, I think Cruz, I'm talking to more and more activists on the Republican side who say, I'm really.
So, Steve, but in the general election, Sandra, Ted Cruz are people going to be able to get over his social issues?
Well, no, I think that's a realistic question, and I think people are starting to ask what were not realistic questions before. And we were talking to Jim Rogers yesterday, who actually said he thinks it's quite realistic that Trump could win at this point. We didn't hear that many people saying that a couple of months ago.
Did he say win the general election or win the primary?
Win the general election, he said, and he said that would lead to bankruptcy and war. Okay, it was a
That's what he said. He said it's going to lead to bankruptcies and war.
Correct. And now that people are starting to see that he's not going away, and that this might be becoming more realistic, that he's at least the GOP nominee, people are starting to wonder what the future looks like. And I'm going to ask you, if he is indeed becomes, GOP the nominee or the president, what does the economy look like in a couple years?
First of all, I do think he can win the nomination. I wouldn't have said that 6 weeks ago, but I think he can.
Sounds like a lot of people I talked to.
I think he's an incredibly skilled politician, and he has a real talent for tapping into this rage and anger that most Republicans were ignoring. So yes, he can win the primary, and you know, if he can win the primary, he can win the presidency. The problem with Donald Trump is he doesn't take any advice. I mean, he makes a lot of this stuff up as he goes along, and so it would be, you know, I don't think it's going. I think it's an overstatement to say it would lead to war and depression. That the candidate who would cause war and depression, I think, is Bernie Sanders, but. boy, is it amazing. I mean, who would have thought 2 months ago that the front runners would not be Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush?
He doesn't have any of the infrastructure around him.
Bernie Sanders?
No, Donald Trump.
He doesn't need it, though.
Monica Langley just did a piece on this in the Journal that there's none of the advisors, none of the hangers-on, none of the handlers. He gets all
but
the plane and he walks down and he starts talking.
But you know what?
Steve Wynn basically advises him. Steve Wynn is a free market libertarian.
That's not bad.
And I wonder,
you could do a lot worse than that.
This is like a big question in my head because a lot of there is a populism to free markets, to lower taxes, to free market capitalism. This is Steve Wynn effectively. Is the problem with the Ted Cruzes and the Rands of the world? They're just kind of like B-League players representing a big mantle.
That's a great point. I've done a lot of work with Rand Paul over the last year. He was going to be the anti-establishment candidate.
He still
and then all of a sudden this 800-pound gorilla named Donald Trump comes along and just steals his thunder. The same thing happened with Trump. I mean, you mentioned the fact that he doesn't have the infrastructure. One of the things these other candidates are doing, like Jeb Bush, is like, oh, so-and-so endorsed me, so this politician endorsed me, and people don't care about that anymore. The fact that he doesn't have this kind of Republican infrastructure around him is an asset right now. I mean, look, the Republican brand, Maria, is very damaged right now, and Trump has tapped into this so professionally and expertly. I mean, I'm
really
impressed.
has. We got to talk